Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupada Paramahansa Paribhacharya Ashto Tarahata Sisi Mad Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitalita Professor Vishnupada Ashto Tarahata Sisi Mad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Thakur Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Prem se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Radha Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Shri Radha Krishna Govindam Samakunda Radha Kundi Giri Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Mathura Dham Ki Navadvip Dham Ki Mayapur Dham Ki Gangamai Ki Yamunamai Ki Tulsi Devi Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Garantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Tai Gaur Premanandi. All glory to the assembled devotees, all glory to the assembled devotees, all glory to the assembled devotees, all glory to Sri Guru, Sri Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya So reading today from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, 19th chapter, text number 3. King Prithu's 100 horse sacrifices. Yatta Yagjapati Sakshan Bhagavan Harir Ishvara Anvabu Yatta Sarvatma Sarvaloka Guru Prabhu Yatta Yagyapati Sakshan Bhagavan Harir Ishvara Anbabu Yatta Sarvatma Sarvaloka Guru Prabhu Yatra Yagyapati Sakshat Bhagavan Harir Ishvara Anbabhuyat Sarvatma Sarvaloka Guru Prabhu. Yatra Yagyapati Sakshat Haririshvara Yatra Yagyapati Sakshat Bhagavan Haririshvara Anbabhuyat Sarvatma Sarvaloka Guru Prabhu. Yatra Yagyapati Sakshat Bhagavan Haririshvara Yatra, where? Yagyapati, the enjoyer of all sacrifices. Sakshat, directly. Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hari, Lord Vishnu. Ishvara, the Supreme Controller. Anubhuyata, became visible. Sarva Atma, the super soul of everyone. Sarvaloka Guru, the master of all planets, or the teacher of everyone. Prabhu, the proprietor. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, is present in everyone's heart as the Supersoul, and He is the proprietor of all planets and the enjoyer of the results of all sacrifices. He was personally present at the sacrifices made by King Pittu. Everyone can please repeat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, is present in everyone's heart as the Supersoul, and He is the proprietor of all planets and the enjoyer of the results of all sacrifices. He was personally present at the sacrifices made by King Pittu. Purport. In this verse, the word sakshat is significant. Pittu Maharaj was a Shaktivesh avatar incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Actually, Pittu Maharaj was a living entity, but he acquired specific powers from Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu, however, is directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus belongs to the category of Vishnu Tattva. Maharaj Pittu belonged to the Jiva Tattva. The Vishnu Tattva indicates God, whereas the Jiva Tattva indicates the part and parcel of God. When God's part and parcel is especially empowered, he is called Shaktiavish Avatar. Lord Vishnu is herein described as Harir Ishvara. The Lord is so kind that he takes all miserable conditions away from his devotees. Consequently, he is called Hari. He is described as Ishvara because he can do whatever he likes. He is the supreme controller. The supreme Ishvara, Purushottam, is Lord Krishna. He exhibits his powers as Ishvara, or supreme controller, when he assures his devotees in Bhagavad Gita 18:66, "Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear." He can immediately make his devotee immune from all the reactions caused by sinful life, if the devotee simply surrenders unto him. He is described herein as Sarvatma, meaning that he is present in everyone's heart as Supersoul, and as such, he is the supreme teacher of everyone. If we are fortunate enough to take the lessons given by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, our lives immediately become successful. No one can give better instructions to human society than Lord Krishna. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Garanjana Sharakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vichaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadayam Dadati Swaparantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Dashatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Panchakalpadrubhyascha Kripasindhubhyevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. So I beg all the exalted personalities here to please give me the ability to say something meaningful, which is difficult for me, but I try. So thank you very much. So this is a very interesting verse, especially following the verse yesterday, which was spoken yesterday and so nicely commented on by His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami about envy. And here comes, in this verse, an amazing demonstration of envy. The first point, in this Srila Prabhupada points out, Sakshat, that the Lord personally appeared. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And He personally appears. So many different instances, which are amazing. Just like here, because Prithu Maharaj, of course, he's a Shaktiavish avatar. So we can understand coming to bless your Shaktiavish avatar. But just, of course, we're very fortunate that we have Radha Krishna, Gaurnitai, Govardhan, and all different, Lord Nrsimhadev, they manifest. And Krishna smiles at us. But He doesn't instruct us, like it says here at the end of the purport in Bhagavad Gita. Of course He does, because we have Bhagavad Gita, and we have so many devotees who are enthusiastically distributing Bhagavad Gita. And if it wasn't for those devotees, most of us probably wouldn't be here right now. which is the importance of Sankirtan, but we'll speak about that later. How all of us can engage in this most benevolent, beneficial, and ecstatic activity. So the Lord appeared, amazing. What does it take for Krishna to appear? There's different circumstances, just like he appeared before Shakti Veshavataar, that's understandable. He appeared before a distressed elephant, just because of the devotion. The devotion of Gajendra was, he was an elephant. And not only that, he was a king of the elephants, enjoying with she-elephants. Certainly not a very elevated activity according to sadhana bhakti. And then he prayed to the Lord when he got caught by the crocodile. And the demigods were looking on and they were sneering at him. The Lord, he doesn't even appear when we call him. What to speak of, you an elephant. And then all of a sudden they saw Lord Vishnu appearing. And they ran behind him. we better make up for this one. And they offered prayers immediately. Otherwise, we were chiding the elephant. You think the Lord's going to appear? And he did? No. Why? Because of his full surrender. This is the element that causes the Lord to appear in one way or another. Of course, in this age, he appears in the form of the holy name, which is such an accessible manifestation. But at the same time, although very accessible, the Lord is still, there's something that we have to do in the element of surrender that will cause the holy name to manifest. Otherwise, as Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, the holy name can fully manifest or be like a shell that are just like some syllables being spoken by someone. But as one verse from Skanda Purana says, that you can chant two ways. Shraddhaya Helaya Va. You can chant with great faith, which means devotees who know, if they just spoken once, it says just spoken once. If one chants it with faith, meaning one who knows with the potency of the holy name, if they chant it once without offenses, the holy name appears. Or Helaya, if one chants the holy name neglectfully, otherwise you don't know anything about it, then he may also appear to enliven such a person, to give that person the opportunity to come to the shelter of his holy feet. So the Lord, this is very amazing that he has appeared. When he sees that someone is surrendered to him, here Prithu Maharaj, of course, it's wonderful that Srila Prabhupada explains he's a jiva, because if the Lord appeared in his full manifestation, he wouldn't do so under such circumstances, nor would he take the measures that Prithu Maharaj took. He took out when he saw the earth wasn't producing, he took out his bow and arrow and pointed it at the earth. And then he pointed it up at the demigod. Anybody who tries to stop me, this is a Kshatriya. Even when the Lord appears as a Kshatriya, he kills some demons, but the main thing is to enliven his devotees, as it says later in the purport. But he doesn't have to challenge the earth. Rather, the earth comes to him and begs for some relief. As when he appeared as Krishna, the earth approached Lord Brahma, and Brahma approached the Lord. And even then, There was no sakshat. No, there was no direct. Like he's Brahma, and there was no direct manifestation. He could hear the Lord's voice, coming from Swetatdweep, but he couldn't see him personally. He did get to see him personally in different circumstances, but he couldn't see him, and he's not so accessible as he is in the form of the holy name or in his deity form. Of course, in the deity form, you have to be in the temple to appreciate the deity form. And even in the deity manifestation, you have to be in the right consciousness. Otherwise, we'll see a nicely ornamented deity of the Lord. Or if he manifests, if he becomes sakshat, you can't tear yourself away. Just like Lord Chaitanya, sometimes he would stay for 3 hours just taking darshan of Lord Jagannath. And we get like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe half an hour during kirtan, and we've got our quota. And so time to move on and do what I want to do. Of course, hopefully what you want to do is serve the Lord. That's not always the case. So then Srila Prabhupada mentions, after explaining the position of Prithu Maharaj and Lord Vishnu, he says, Lord Vishnu is described in this verse as Hari Ishvara. Now, in other places in the Bhagavatam, he's similarly described. Tasmat Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishvara Hari. That in the same concept, Hari, he takes away the miseries. So here it says he takes away, he's called Hari because he takes away the miseries of his devotee. And the Bhagavatam also says that. And how does he do it? Shrotavya kirtadavyascha smartavyaschichtata bhayam. He takes away all the fear and anxiety of a devotee. And then elsewhere in the Bhagavatam, it describes what are those miseries that he takes away. Because there's two types of miseries. Well, there's many types, but I want to focus on two types. That the Lord, he appears ekena manasa. He appears, if your mind is very fully focused on the Lord, Bhagavan Satpatam Pati. No. He appears because he's the protector of his devotees. And he appears to take away all of those miseries. And what are those miseries? As described in the beginning of the second canto. That those miseries that he's taking away are, first of all, Shrotavyadini, Rajendra. He's taking away Rinam Sahasrajaha. He's taking away Santi Sasrashaha. Hundreds and thousands of different types of things that people talk about. Although Shukadeva Goswami began by saying, there's only one thing to talk about, and those are questions related to Krishna. That's the one thing you should talk about, because it's approved by saintly persons. And it's also Shruttavyadino Yaparaha. It is the highest thing to hear about. And then he says, what do you not want? What is everybody else hearing about? No? Nidreya hriyate naktam vivayana chivavayam. They're hearing about what to do, what to do at nighttime, what to do in daytime. Nighttime, you sleep, social activities, and other things. And daytime, diva charte haya rajan kutumba varane nama. In the daytime, you work hard to enjoy. And that's hundreds of thousands of subject matters on how to do that. And how to, the different varieties of sense gratification. And then he says, and there's other types of miseries, like the miseries coming from the great illusion that my family, friends, and all these people are infallible. No, they're atmasanyashvasat swapi. They are fallible soldiers. And then it's amazing how Srila Prabhupada, he says, Sham pramata nidhanam. Pramata. Pramata actually means madness. But Srila Prabhupada, extreme, not only madness, but extreme madness. Not just little madness. Prabhupada even said you have to be a little crazy to be a devotee. But extreme madness means that you're extremely crazy not to be a devotee, because of the way the material world is. But Prabhupada translates it as too attached. So this attachment to things that are not necessary create madness. And of course, Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he tells us what to be attached to. That Maya sakta manaparta yugam yunjam marashraya. Be attached to me. Attachment must be there. Srila Prabhupada made this point so many times. You must be attached to something, because as Lord Chaitanya describes, that if we're very, very fortunate, we can, if we get the Lord's mercy, then we can be a little atom at his lotus feet. And if you get that great fortune, then you can understand what is my position. What is the independence or the position of an atom? Atom can be moved very easily. Can be, moved from one place to another very easily. And the living entity, lost in this material world, can be pushed and pulled by the waves of Maya. But once you take shelter of the Lord's lotus feet, then you're secure. Otherwise, you take shelter of anything else. And we have to take shelter of something because we're just little atoms. Atoms don't... actually, what was it, about 3 years ago, all the scientists were very excited. They had found the God atom. The God atom is supposedly the smallest possible particle that you can, anyone who studies, physics can, we finally found it. And they have this huge accelerator in Switzerland. And they said, we're going to observe the God atom. And they started it up, and whoop, it got away. It went right through France and all through England, and we lost track. So much, like billions of dollars or euros to build this reactor, and then the God atom got away. Which shows that for ignorant people, Krishna will always get away. They can't contain him. But Prithu Maharaj can contain him, and even Gajendra can contain him. So we are saved by these things. But how do we become saved? Again, the Bhagavatam says, Shrotavya kirtatavyascha jaya pujascha nityada. If you want to be saved from these miseries, if you want to take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then the way to do that is hearing, chanting, meditating on the Lord, which, either smartavya or dhyaya, and puja. You worship the Lord, nityada, not in the morning or, but you worship him constantly. And this is Lord Chaitanya's indication. Kirtaniya sada hari. Srila Prabhupada's father was worshiping the deity, Nityada. Prabhupada said that he would go to work like 3 hours a day. First he would do puja like from 4 in the morning until about 10 o'clock. 6 hours of puja. And then he would take breakfast, get ready, go to work at 11, stop at 1, then go back, do more puja for 3 hours, 3 or 4 hours, then go to work for another hour, and then come back and do puja. And that is nityada. But it's hard to do that much puja for people in Kali Yuga. Although I remember one devotee, what was his name? And that played Champahatta. It was Babaji. He was the pujari there for 79 years. The only pujari, the only one, 79 years. So that, most of us can't do that. That's pretty special. So anyway, the Lord steals away those kinds of miseries, from hearing about all kinds of things, engaging in sense gratification. But there's another kind of misery which the Lord very mercifully takes his devotees away from. And those are the surrender devotees. Lord Chaitanya has defined that. Na danam na janam na sundarim kavita. He takes you away from the miseries caused by wealth, caused by fame, adoration, recognition, caused by too much association with the opposite sex and fruitive activities. So he saves his devotee. Yasyaham anugrinami harishe taddanam shanai. If he's very merciful to a devotee, he takes away everything. I had one disciple from Jewish background, and he read that verse, and he literally came running to me. He came, he read that verse. It was like 10 o'clock at night, and he came to the temple. And he was knocking on the door, and someone answered. He said, "I have to speak to Maharaj." Well, he was probably resting. He said he just began to shout. And so finally somebody came up, knocked on my door, and I was resting. So-and-so is here to see you. He says it's an emergency. And, okay, well, it's an emergency. Maybe his wife is, something happened to his family. So I got up, said, "I just read this verse, and it says Krishna is going to take away everything." I said, "That's the emergency?" He said, "Yes. Is that going to happen to me?" I said, "Most probably, but only when you're ready. Only when you're ready. When Krishna knows when to do, what to do, and when to do it." So then, many years later, a few years ago, he got Lou Gehrig disease. For those that don't know what that is, it's a very degenerative disease of the muscles, kind of like muscular sclerosis. And, he gradually lost his ability to move, to walk. Then he could barely speak. And the last things he said to me, he said, "You were right. Now I'm ready." He said, "Krishna took away everything. I can't even talk anymore." And that was the last thing he said. Couldn't stop, just couldn't talk anymore. He saved that one for the last time I saw him. But then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he comments on that verse. And he says that actually Krishna doesn't want to take away everything. He wants to give you everything. But in order to give you everything, you have to be prepared. And if you're attached to something that will be an impediment, just like the demigods pray in the 5th canto, that, I forgot that verse, Satyam Yashat, I can't remember it right now, but say, the Lord wants to give everything that his devotee wants. And when you read that first line, great, fantastic. But If the Lord sees that it will involve you in future desires, then He does something else. He gives you His lotus feet on your head, and even if you don't desire it, this is His mercy. But then, of course, the way He gives His lotus feet, that depends on our attitude. If our attitude is like Kaliya, then it may be like, very, very hard foot stomping. But if we have the attitude of a surrendered devotee, it may be very gentle, touching, or if we're sincere devotees, then He'll give us. The other point is, He will give us what we need. He will give us His transcendental mercy. And then, so those are a few points about protecting His devotees. Now Srila Prabhupada speaks about that a little more later. Then he speaks about, in this purport, that His position is Ishvara. And Srila Prabhupada says, He does what He likes. No, that's Ishvara. Tathasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. The Supreme Lord is that one person who has nothing to do. Sometimes I tell this story. I had one disciple, and his father was the consulate for El Salvador, which is in my GBC zone. So I had to get a visa. And I said, so your father, he's the consulate. Can you, I needed a visa very quick. Can you speak to him? He said, oh, he doesn't like devotees. I said, I've tried to explain. Well, I said, well, let's go see him. Let's see what happens. We went. He looked at me sternly. He said, what is all this about? And I explained to him, and he said, that makes sense. He said, when my son told me, it didn't make any sense. He said, this is nice. I want to hear more about this. We spoke for like 2 hours. And a bunch of people were frustrated because they were waiting to see him. Time was up. And he said, I'm going to dedicate I've been building this beach house for the last 15 years, saving up. And it's almost finished. In I forget how long it was, like 3 or 4 months. I want to dedicate it, and I would like you to come and dedicate the house. And so I said, yeah, sure. He said, I'll pay your ticket. Just please come. And I said, okay, great. And so the time came. I arrived on Thursday. And then Friday night, this was like his dream. I'm finally going to retire. I won't have anything to do, like Krishna. And that night we got the news he had a heart attack, left his body. So then everybody came the next day to the house. I convinced them. I said, well, this is what he wanted, if you want to remember him. And then all his family members came, and I said, he really liked what we're doing. So in honor of him, why don't we chant the holy names of Krishna? In honor of him. He wanted to do this. So then everybody chanted and we dedicated the house. So the point is, even if you retire, you can never get it to a situation where you don't have anything to do. You may not be able to do anything, but you can't get to the position where you voluntarily don't have anything to do. And so that's reserved for Krishna. Of course, then it says here, even though he has nothing, he does what he likes. He's the supreme controller, Ishvara. But then Srila Prabhupada makes a very powerful point. He wants to please his devotee. And then he's talking about Krishna. No. He says, the supreme Ishvara Purushottam is Lord Krishna. He exhibits his powers as Ishvara, or the supreme controller, when he assures his devotee in Bhagavad Gita, I will protect you. Now, this is the amazing difference between Vishnu and Krishna. No. That although it's the same person, when you come to Krishna, Uddhava describes Krishna as that yan martili laupayakam swayogamayam balam darshayata grihita. He says that Krishna, he appeared in this human, his activities were human-like. It's amazing. Although they were full of yoga maya potency, he appeared in this way. So amazing that you could understand him in this way. Vismapanam swasya. Even his other forms like Vishnu, they think this form of Krishna is amazing. And of course, the main example is Mahavishnu. He created this whole circumstance with the 9 sons of the Dwarka Brahman. And even the last one, the first ones died. The last one died and disappeared, just to show Arjuna that you can't, you have to depend on me. You can't take your Shiva Jwara, your Shiva weapon and protect this Brahman. You can only do that by, and so Arjuna was distraught, and Krishna said, let's go see Mahavishnu. And they went to see Mahavishnu, and Mahavishnu, I did all this just to see you. And for the first time, Arjuna understood, who is Krishna? I mean, who is he, meaning the Supreme Personality of Godhead? That even though Krishna bowed down to Mahavishnu, just like Krishna bowed down to Govardhan, but he still, this is his manifestation, and Vishnu wanted to see him. So swasyava subhagride. And even the most opulent, the people who have great opulences, they also are amazed by Krishna. Of course, not the ones who have false opulence of paper money or gold money, but really who have real opulence, the demigods. They're amazed by Krishna. And param bhushanam bhushanam gam. Krishna is so wonderful that even his ornaments are ornamented by him. So this is Krishna. And what is his position? No. Sandarshina hyanga harina britya vashyata. That he is controlled by his devotee. Even though swa vashinapi krishnena, yasyedam sashwaram vashe, even though he controls himself and he controls the demigods, he's controlled by his devotee. This is Krishna's position. So, such an amazing personality, Krishna. In the form of Mahavishnu, he manifests unlimited universes with the ease of sleeping. But in the form of Krishna, that's not very interesting. Krishna says at the end of the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, just a fraction of my opulence, this universal creation and all the manifestation of universes. But what I'm really interested in is my fully surrendered devotee. That is the person I'm interested in. So this is the last point I wanted to make here, that Srila Prabhupada says, if we are fortunate enough to take lessons given by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, our lives immediately become successful. Now here's Indra. He saw this sacrifice. Vishnu saw this sacrifice. He came to bless. And Indra saw it, it's a challenge. Actually, when Srila Prabhupada came to Washington one time, many Sankirtan devotees came there to be with Prabhupada. And it was raining, kept raining every day, 4 days. And Prabhupada was there. And one devotee said, Prabhupada, why is it raining like this? It seems like that Indra would want us to do Sankirtan. He's Krishna's devotee. And Srila Prabhupada said, no, because you are doing so much sacrifice. Indra's a little concerned. Therefore, he's sending rain. All these Sankirtan devotees together, they may take over, and so make sure they can't do Sankirtan, So Srila Prabhupada was saying that in a kind of a joking way. But this is Indra. Now, we were amazed, we're all amazed when we heard that Indra, challenged Krishna in Vrindavan because Krishna was, from his point of view, an impudent little boy, trying to control, playing and trying to say he's the supreme. And he got so angry he was going to kill the cows and the residents of Vrindavan. That's pretty bad. And then it seems like he would learn his lesson, but then when Satyabhama wanted a parijata flower, he again tried to. But we can see millions of years before, he was also, Lord Vishnu is satisfied, and he's thinking, Vishnu appears there, and he's thinking, how can I ruin this sacrifice? So this is the lesson. This is a great lesson we can take. Even if you're in the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even if you're in the presence of the deity, if we don't surrender, if we don't really understand, just like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhokta cha, prabhur eva cha. If you don't understand, as it says here, that he's the supreme enjoyer, he is the supreme Lord of everything, the supreme controller, the proprietor of everything. Bhoktaram jagyatapasam sarvalokam maheshwaram suridam sarvabhutana. Gyatpamam shantam richati. You can never have peace. Sometimes we as devotees, we're looking for peace in the wrong way. We think, I want the kind of peace that you get when you go to the beach or you go to the mountains. But that's not even peace. Where do you find peace? You go into the ocean and one, jivo jivasya jivanam, one living entity is eating another. A few years ago, I went into the water, a stingray. I stepped on a stingray, it stung me, in the foot. That was very painful. And, and then there's always, it's always very difficult. You go into the forest, there are lions and tigers and bears, And one time I was in the jungle, ran into a jaguar. I was hiking in the mountains of Colorado, ran into a big bear, And one time I used to live there in Colorado, I was playing once with a bear cub. I thought it was a dog. And then the mother bear came. And luckily I was only about 25 feet from the door. And the mother bear stood up like this, and I ran, closed the door, and the bear... Luckily it was a thick door, and she went away. So, you think the mountains are peaceful, I was walking on the beach in Panama. There was a big rock, so I had to go up into the jungle a little bit to go around the rock. And when I came out, my arms were black, covered with mosquitoes. So, where will you find peace? Arjuna found peace on the battlefield. That's where he found peace. Very peacefully, humbly killing thousands of soldiers in full humility. So this is the peace. When we actually surrender to Krishna, peace is actually a divine intervention into this world. Otherwise, you can never find peace, even in front of the deity, unless we surrender. We'll be saying, okay, when's this class going to be over so I can do what I want? And that's in just a minute. And when will that? We have this anticipation. But if our only anticipation is, how can I please Krishna? How can I surrender to Krishna? Because that will please him. Even becoming a pure devotee, the only motive should be, this way I can serve Krishna better. Not that if I'm a pure devotee, then, I won't have any more miseries. No. That's not even the best motive. The best motive is, if I'm a pure devotee, I can serve Krishna in the best way. And this will satisfy him. And then I will be satisfied. But the gopis of Vrindavan, they don't even think about being satisfied. They just think about satisfying Krishna. So these are some points. This is such a purport pregnant with different wonderful explanations by Srila Prabhupada, but the time is up. So if there's any comment or question. Well, anyway, I'll try to follow the schedule in any case, although you're very merciful. Yes.
Muchas gracias, Maharaj. Una clase muy maravillosa. La pregunta es la siguiente. Usted estaba mencionando cómo de una forma u otra el Señor Supremo alivia a los devotos de las miserias. Y esa es una hari que le quita a uno todo el sufrimiento y así por el estilo. Pero entonces en la otra mano vemos que la reina Kunti está pidiendo más sufrimiento. Entonces esto parece como algo diferente, ¿no? Porque el Señor le quita a los devotos el sufrimiento, entonces la reina Kunti está pidiendo más sufrimiento. ¿Cómo podemos entender?
The question is, I was saying that Krishna takes away the misery of his devotees, but sometimes we see devotees are experiencing miseries. But that is mercy. That's mercy. Mercy instead of misery. So it's his mercy. He just gives you enough misery. Just enough so you remember that this material world is not my home. So he has to give you a little bit, just like a good father or mother would, they won't give their child chocolate and ice cream every time he cries. They will, some little chastisement, some correction has to be there. So Krishna, of course, one may say, well, I've seen devotees get some pretty heavy misery, cancer, car accident, and so many things. But Krishna gives us exactly what we need to surrender, but then that surrender can be of two kinds. We can either surrender to him or we can surrender to Maya. If the misery sometimes is also takes the form of a test. What is the strength of your devotion? What is your strength of your surrender to me? And so he's teaching us, as it says here, he's always teaching us that this term, this is why the verse in the Bhagavatam uses the word that, he's the super soul, he's Paramatma. And he's always trying to teach us something. And sometimes misery is a good teacher. Just like many of us, certainly in my case, the misery was what caused me to try to surrender. I'm still trying. And Krishna very mercifully keeps giving me misery, so that I can keep trying to surrender. But that's one of the most difficult things in Krishna consciousness is Pungjana evatmakam vipakam, is understanding atmakrita, that I am the cause of what's happening to me. That is probably the most difficult thing, even though we may understand it theoretically, when it happens to me in a very unpalatable way, it's very difficult to accept. But it's a reality, and when you accept it, then life becomes much easier. But when you want to blame it on somebody else or something else, then life becomes very complicated, and you make enemies. Dhira Dhira Jana Priya Priya Karo. The 6 Goswamis, everybody was their friend, even though they may not have considered the 6 Goswamis to be their friend. Everyone was their friend. I mean, even the Nawab could see their good qualities. He liked to destroy temples, as what to do on a Saturday afternoon. Go destroy a temple. But Swarupa and Sanatan were so dear to him because of their qualities. So when a devotee accepts the arrangement of the Lord, that's when you become peaceful. Otherwise, very difficult.
Muchas gracias.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the wonderful class. Maharaj, I have a question about Archa Vigraha. As you mentioned, Sakshat, and Prabhupada says Archa Vigraha is Sakshat, Krishna. How does this work in a life of devotee? How can we increase appreciation for Krishna as a Sakshat manifestation? And if you could give some examples.
When you can't tear yourself away from the deities, then you'll understand you're appreciating it. No. When you come by for a quick blessing, then you know I'm not appreciating it. No. But of course we can always appreciate, I mean, who can not appreciate these beautiful personalities? No. But to fully appreciate it, to understand, to really understand, not theoretically, but in my heart, here is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Every time we see Him, it increases our desire to serve Him. Then He's manifesting. And of course, I did want to make the point, but I ran out of time, but I'll just very quickly. What makes Krishna manifest in the form of the holy name? How can you understand if the holy name is actually manifesting? One of the best ways is japa. If I'm attentive, it means the Lord is manifesting because I'm attentive. He will manifest. No? And his rupa, guna, lila will begin to manifest. No? Because you're attentive. We are alone with the Lord for, hour and a half, 2 hours a day, or 2.5, whatever your chanting speed is. Of course, if it's too quick, you may be missing the opportunity. But he's directly manifesting in our consciousness. And if he doesn't do that, if I'm, watching the balloons, or which I was doing this morning, or something else is distracting us, then he won't manifest. And this is the form we want him to manifest in. So if you want that to happen, just like Ram Rai Prabhu the other day was saying a beautiful quote from Srila Prabhupada in the instructions of the Lord to Sanatana Goswami. If we don't go out and give this mercy to others, who will do it? And because why should we do it? Ataeva ami agya dilun sabakari jahan tahan premapala deha jari tari. Because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I instruct everyone within the universe to give these fruits of love of Godhead. So no one can escape. Nobody can say, well, that's for brahmacharis. No. They're supposed to do that. I'm supposed to work. No, even if you're working, whatever you're doing, the instruction of Lord Chaitanya to Kurma Brahman that Amaya Gara Guru Hanyatare Desh, that you must become a guru. That's for everybody. That's for grihastas. He was giving that to a grihasta living at home who wanted to go join the Sankirtan party. He said, no, you stay home. You have to work. You have to maintain your family, but you have to preach. You have everyone you see, everywhere you go, you give Krishna consciousness. So no one can escape from this duty. Sometimes the Jehovah's Witness have us beat in their missionary spirit. We've got the best philosophy. We understand that every living entity needs Krishna's mercy. And how can these people with their particular philosophy, I won't comment on it, but it's definitely, a few steps behind ours. they're going out every day. They have to go out 2 times a week, minimum. These are working people. They go out. Many of you may have had them knock on your door. I've had them several times. And even now when they go by, they just wave, They know that I gave them Bhagavad Gita. They took it. So just read it. Check it out. No, I haven't. No, check it out. And then they wave when they go by. So when I'm fortunate enough to be there and wave back, say yes. I think they must have read it, because otherwise they would come again and try to give me a watchtower. I took their watchtower also. I say, okay, I take your watchtower, you take my Bhagavad Gita. Well, even exchange. From your point of view, even exchange. From my point of view, you're getting the greatest benefit. But, so anyway, I'm sorry to extend myself on that point. So now it is definitely late, and even though Smarahari Prabhu was very accommodating, I don't want to abuse this opportunity to give some service to all of you. So we'll conclude here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Govinda, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Shri Govardhan ki jai, and Antakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi.